All right, welcome back, folks. Game 3 ready to get started, all tied up 1-1. It comes down to a best of 3. So let's go right into the draft, Parker, before you even get to say a word. We got a little slow start here. These teams, man, they know what they want. No reserve time used. These first bans are just like dunk, 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 dunk. Okay, let's get picking.
We see the game load, we got to run our videos, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
whoa, okay.
But, I mean, for good reason. All of these picks, heroes that we've seen quite a bit, Troll Warlord, Queen of Pain for Secret, they really like that Queen of Pain. This is now the 3rd game in a row they have opened with Queen of Pain as their 2nd pickup. Mixed results, obviously, 1-1, but a very staple pick. I feel like you can't really go wrong with.
Also, the 3rd game in a row, there's been a Troll first pick. So far, 2 for 2. The Troll's been the winning hero in these games so far.
We'll see if it holds true again.
I mean, not much more to say about this hero, but the targeted bans on Puppey going to continue, the Chen Enigma. At some point, though, when Secret have first pick, maybe not, I guess next game in theory it's going to be Asus Polar with first pick if the kind of swap over continues. Maybe you ban up, I feel like you got to ban the Troll and maybe give up an Enigma or a Chen, because this Troll is just, if it keeps winning games, it's going to become a ban. But yeah. We got the Keeper of the Light, the Treant banned out in the 2nd stage. Treant seems to be a bit more of a concern for the teams when they're on that, when their opponent's on the Radiant side looking to pick it up. And again, Drow Visage, it seems. We've got a Drow pick from Asus Polar. Secret could snag the Visage if they want, but I don't really think you want to do that. I think it's, well, Kuro and Puppey not really big Visage players, but also just not really a hero that seems to be something Secret want to generally go towards.
It's an interesting choice to go for it again, now up against the Troll. I'm trying to think about how much of that last game was because of the Drow Visage duo and how much of it was because of all the other stuff that happened. The Techies pick, the Troll Warlord being that kind of staple guy in the backside that works very well with what Drow Visage want to do. That split play, you get the battle trance. I feel like it's not quite as potent this go-around.
I think last game we didn't also see the Drow Visage to its full potential. Like that didn't feel like a Drow Visage game. That felt like a Troll game.
Yeah,
that just felt like another Troll game. So now, without the Troll, it's going to be, okay, Drow Visage have to do their thing. Here we go, though. The Zai Broodmother, great against some of these squishy supports. Visage in line, especially Visage, not the best at level 1. Going to have their work cut out for them to maybe zone out a Brood. And we'll just see if Asus Polar maybe consider mixing up some of these lanes. They could try an offensive trialing and get like a Legion Commander or something to 1v1 the Brood. Axe was banned out by Secret, so maybe that's a possibility here when they see this Brood pick.
Always a scary hero in the hands of Secret, though. I don't really care what you have in your lineup, what your general plan is. This is a hero that you absolutely have to deal with. You know, if you leave Zai alone, he's going to farm and become a madman towards the end of that game. Split push you to no end. A lot of different builds he'll go for. We've seen him do the Dagon first build. We've seen him do the more standard Necro book. He can even transition into a little bit of a right clicker, but at the same time, if you try to shut him down, but fail in your attempts, he gets into the trees, you waste a lot of sentries and wards. He can be a big money pit where he's just, you know.
10 seconds
so
remaining.
Legion Commander gets banned out. They can help secure Zai his lane by not giving that potential counter pick to Asus Polar.
Axe is still available. But
no, it's banned out earlier. So.
Is it? Oh, yeah, there he is. Okay. How did I miss him?
So,
how did I miss those mutton shots?
Yeah, Asus Polar could have done an aggro trialing with Drow Visage lane. Even if they don't win that lane, they just have a good matchup versus the Brute. I think the other decent kind of pseudo counter pick here, which isn't going to be like a 1v1 here, is the Spirit Breaker. You just offlane a Spirit Breaker, and if you ever want to go in the Brood, having the charge for vision is very helpful. So that's the hero that stands out to me, but they're going to go Centaur instead.
Okay, here's another one that's okay against the Brood. You can double edge down the Spiderlings, which is nice-ish.
I don't think you want a 1v1 Centaur versus Brood, but it helps. Like later on, once Centaur has some levels in farm, you can go to the Brood's lane and clear out some Spiderling.
And his burst damage is enough that if you just catch the Brood, you hit her with a dust. If he can hop in, hit her with his combo, that usually gets her into that threshold where someone else can follow up and kind of finish her off. So it's not like a direct counter, but a hero that I think fares fairly nicely. And here Secret will round things out with Lina.
They like their Kuro Lina as a support.
All right.
Interesting drafts from the two teams. So you've got Asus Polar going with a kind of similar 5-man-S lineup where they want to get... The laning seed seems to be where Asus Polar often kind of fall behind a little bit. Like, we've seen 2 games in a row, 10, 15 minutes in. It's been a gold advantage going Secret's way, but then they just flip a switch. They get their initiators online. This time around in 7 Axe, it's going to be a Centaur with a Blink Dagger, but that's kind of the big item which changes things into Asus Polar's side, even if they're behind on the early game farm.
Well, we'll load in here and see how things get started. Hopefully we don't have too many connection issues, as it was kind of an issue in the last game. Illidan on the Drow Ranger once again. Lil on his Visage. No big surprise there. Lanes from Asus Polar should be pretty straightforward. Safe lane Drow, off lane Centaur, and then of course G will go mid on the Shadow Fiend. So nothing too crazy there. Zai on the off-lane troll, or pardon me, on the off-lane Broodmother. Arteezy will take the troll to be your safe lane farmer. S4 on the Queen of Pain, and that puts Puppey on Mr. Shadow Priest, the Dazzle. You mentioned that Kurolina as well, and that's exactly what he'll do.
So both teams, for the most part, in their comfort zone. I feel like, I mean, Asus Polo have definitely been going away from the Drow Visage until today. They did it, I think, once I can remember over the past week before this series, but a strat like that works in the game, and you just makes you like say, okay, let's do it again, even if it hasn't been our go-to. It's kind of like during Starlighter Season 11, it was always Illidan picking Slark. We haven't seen Illidan play Slark hardly at all over the past week, but
that's true, actually.
All it takes is one game for a hero to work, especially in the best of 5 series, and then you keep going back towards it, which is kind of what we're seeing here with the Drow Ranger.
When you get into these longer series, one of the things you mentioned earlier on is the teams that shine are the ones that tend to have drafters that are more adaptable. See what the other team is doing, figure out what their comfort zone is, and finding a way to either ban it or counter it. And whenever you're in these longer series, a mini meta tends to kind of pop up between those two teams. You see it in tournaments as well when it's the same pool of teams playing against each other. And it just changes the way you think about specific heroes and bans relative to perhaps how you did before. Horn gets blown, and it'll be one bounty apiece this go-around. S4 gets one on the Quap, and Drow Ranger will get one here by Illidan. So, even start.
Okay, so they're going to be putting the Shadow Fiend against that Brood
and
in the bottom lane.
Puppey will stay bottom, at least for now. So there is some fun synergy there. You can heal bomb the spiders. That's kind of fun. Not really that game-breaking, but it's a cute bit of synergy. So try lane on the Shadow Fiend. They'll do things a lot differently. I spoke too soon thinking about these lanes. Thoughts about the side lane Shadow Fiend?
It's going to need a lot of protection from the supports. I think they decide it's a little bit... Both him and Illidan are kind of very similar heroes by concept, just SF has a bit more AoE nuke damage, but they're both kind of just that. In the lane stage, looking to right-click, get their farm. Drow can't really push out and farm the mid lane, and will struggle against the Queen of Pain, but they'd rather make sure they have a good kind of wave clear for the Brood.
Yeah, the only problem, though, is that Shadow Fiend will have to share experience, and it looks like Lil and FNG will have to hang around in the lane if they want this to work, to try and zone out the Brood. They've already put down the Sentry Ward, but...
There's double sentries on the dire side to deward this, too.
Ooh, okay. Let's see. One on the Brood and one on the Dazzle, so they have them split up for now.
This is good play from FNG and Lil, though. They'll just keep on poking and prodding, keeping the two secret heroes, using both supports. Normally it's just one support while the other pulls and does just jungle things or mid lane things, but using both supports to zone, very important movement here from the Asus supports. But the lane's pushing out.
G will definitely find the farm that he's looking for. The last hit leader already, 8 and 5, so even denying quite heavy, and we'll get some maxed out souls. One of those rare times when you get to see him go Necromastery level 1, and also one of those rare times that we get to miss First Blood. Sadoy up top gets initiated on by Kuro with an LSA. Sets up for Arteezy to do what the troll does best, chop him down.
It looks like Puppey's decided this bottom lane isn't going to work. He's looking to swing his way at least towards the bottom rune to check it out, but we'll see if he is just checking the rune or goes back towards this bottom lane. A DD on FNG.
Okay, so checking in on the mid lane, S4, 8 and 3 compared to the 5 and 4 Drow Ranger. So it is S4 favored, but not really by that much. The Drow's actually doing a bit better than I would have thought. Oh, bottom, Dust used on Zai.
You can just, yeah, he gets out of there.
Yeah, just move over the trees. Even when you dust him, that's one of the trickiest things about the Brood is she can still hide in fog even when you have that quote-unquote vision.
It was not Dust too, because they only had the 2 heroes. Without Lion there, I don't think they get that kill. I'm not sure if it was a misclick or what, but yeah, that was an odd Dust.
Yep. Now S4 starting to dominate this mid lane a little more as he gets a few more levels to his name. We'll grab the bounty rune up top. I don't know what was bottom. Oh, double damage picked up by Lion.
So there has been the pull camp block. The magic bush ward going to block the pull camp as well as the big camp, but Asus Polar using most of their sentry wards for the lane here to counteract the Brood, but they do get some more delivered. So FNG will deward this, but this is a big gold investment for the Polar supports who are not getting farm, not able to pull. These two supports on the Radiant side are likely to be kind of like very low net worth for the majority of this game.
Yeah, and that's another one of the things about the Brood where it's not just about detection, but it's also about killing. If you buy all those wards and all that dust, but you don't find any kills. I don't want to say they go to waste because they are valuable zoning tools to make space for the Shadow Fiend, but you don't get that same kind of return value that you otherwise would. It is working out well for the Shadow Fiend though. 24 and 12. He is having a field day so far. This is the dream start for an SF.
Yeah, that's great. And that's, I mean, yeah, he's had to share the XP a bit here, but Brood, similar story. This is not a Brood who's getting complete solo XP, and that's another hero that would like to get that solo XP so he can build up the biggest possible Spiderling army. So the safe lane decision to put the SF there is working out well, and Illidan is getting enough out of this mid lane, even if he's not even really being outlast hit by S4 and the Queen of Pain anymore.
Look at this. They'll use the Spider to scout the high ground so Puppey can safely just move over to the bottom rune, grabs the bounty, and it will be S4 that takes the invisibility up top. So one thing that Secret is doing better at controlling these runes. And with a hero like Queen of Pain, that can be a little bit scary. She can get a lot done with aggressive runes, but his mid lane still a slugfest with now the Drow Ranger closing the gap and actually taking over. So I guess maybe rune control can be a double-edged sword in a mid matchup like this.
Yeah, I mean, this Drow can just sit back and last hit, but generally Drow not the easiest hero to last hit with. But going for the straight Ring of Accolade before even picking up boots, just adjusting his item build to make this lane as easy as possible for himself. And even getting an early point in stats. So 1 point in stats, the 3 points in the aura, pure physical damage coming out from Illidan.
Yeah, not concerned about finding kills with the Frost Arrows. Just wants to live. And looking at the top lane, Centaur. He was the victim of the first blood, but 12 CS. Yep. Pretty solid for a solo offlaner. Also level 5. He's having a pretty good time, all things considered. Kuro doing some stacking in the jungle. He'll do the double stack here. Gets a whole Centaur army made. So, well, has some options here for Team Secret. Plenty of stuff in the jungle for Arteezy or S4 to retreat to. And no stack at the hard camp, but...
FNG spending a lot of time camping behind Illidan to keep him safe, although he was spotted out by S4, so S4 won't go diving in for that kill anytime soon. But S4 does hit level 6, so now there's a Sonic Wave to go with his Scream once he has the mana for it.
Very quiet early game relative to these last two matches. Teams just happy to sit back and farm. It is Secret finding the advantage of about 1,000 net worth and a very minor XP edge. Lil may go down in the bottom lane. Zai gets him with the spiders. There you go. That's the kind of return that the Brood is hoping for. Oh my. Good stuff. Good stuff for the Dire.
It's just such a rough matchup for a Visage with the 0 base armor. Even when you get that point in the cloak, it's still very tough to lane against the Brood and the Spiderling. You can kind of stack the Spiderlings on top of each other so you can't even tell how many are coming out.
Yeah. Even if you can see their HP bars, you still don't really know exactly how many it is. G trying to clean him up as best he can with the raises. Still our last hit leader, but now without the Visage here, the Brood gets a little more space in the lane.
And G couldn't help out there because he had no mana for the raises. He's being forced to use his raises quite frequently. He's got a bottle, he's bottle crowing even, but he's just unable to keep up with the rate that Zai is kind of making more Spiderlings and just using them pretty well. You can't really be wasteful with these raises here.
Yeah.
At the same time, he also feels like he has to keep hitting Zai with raises because otherwise Zai just zones him out of the lane by using the nuke even to harass G.
Yeah, and plus Zai has that passive regen from sitting in the webs. So.
Going in on G at bottom lane.
Is this a kill actually? Puppey on his way in. He does not have a point in the poison touch, so no slow, but it's still a kill. Zai makes it happen and spawns some spider babies. Has a little victory chant there. Nicely done, and well, the passive play from Secret in the offlane has worked out, and now they've taken over. And all that hard work that Shadow Fiend had is not down the drain, but not as scary as it was. S4 in the mid, they try to jump on him. Quick fingers there. They were lingering nearby with the two supports. Stampede will be wasted.
Yep. Not the longest of cooldowns, but definitely a spell it's kind of like the Lion Finger or something, where when you use this, you want to be getting a kill or at least saving a high-value target. So Secret, dodge a bullet there, and Centaur, unlike the Axe, can't just really easily rotate back to the jungle and work on his Blink Dagger there. This is not going to be that kind of 10-minute blink we saw out of Sidoi in his Axe 2 games in a row. This is going to be a much slower one.
Yeah. And G could get initiated on again. Zai sending in his spiders. They'll get cleaned up, but it's all bait. S4 comes down. Sonic Wave onto G. He's getting low. They'll chase him that way. Meanwhile, Zai goes for FNG. Shallow Grave onto S4. That'll keep him safe under the tower. He'll get some bottle charges and just barely lives on about 20 HP. 2-0 in the bottom lane. Shadow Fiend and Lion in the grave.
And S4 gets a rune on his way out. He's going to head back mid and be full HP once he gets through these bottle charges. That is huge there. Great grave timing from Puppey, and Good play from G on the Shadow Fiend. Like, he did all he could as far as turning that one around. They wanted to try and stop the D-ward from happening from that dire sentry, which scattered out their sentry, but Secret just continuing to bring down sentries to this bottom lane, making it so hard to deal with Spiderlings. And now the pressure will come on the tier 1 tower. It seems to be we're at that point where Polar just have to abandon ship on this bottom lane.
Now the tower, well, not going to fall off this push perhaps, but this is just such a good game for the Brood at this point. Zai getting a lot of space, not going for the Hand of Midas, but Medallion, Bassi, Soul Ring. He's got this basic kit to really be scary. Sidoy will walk his way over here into the neutrals, and even though he has the burst damage to kill the Spiderlings, needs to be very careful. If Zai's able to perhaps juke a hoof stomp, there is some kill potential here.
Ooh, and Zai getting Medallion. Everyday Brood pickup here, but could help him out with a fast Roshan. If you ever catch out of here by themselves, like maybe not so much the Centaur because he can clear out the Spiderlings, but like a SF, that minus armor with the Spiderlings does a lot of damage.
Yeah, S4 almost gets a solo kill on Visage mid. Lil stays alive thanks to the Grave Chill. S4 not interested in diving, at least not yet. What does S4 have in mind here item-wise? Nothing for him on the Courier. Is this an Orchid or an Ags kind of game for the Quap? We've seen him go Orchid, I think, 2 games in a row now.
The Orchid always just seems so solid. Like, it's good for... It's not even about, like, trying to kill off heroes like your Storms and your Pucks. It's nice just against, like, a Centaur with a Blink Dagger. If he tries to blink in and blink Hoof Stomp, if you react fast enough, as we saw S4 do against the Axe back in Game 1, you silence him before he Hoof Stomps. So I think Orchid is great, even against heroes like Centaur. Against Lion, you can blink in, silence a Lion, and he can't use the counter-initiation tools while you maybe focus someone else. Yeah,
the Ags a little bit better for consistent team fighting. Of course, you get the lower cooldown. You can use it I guess the Ags is a little bit more of a farming tool. You can use it to clear stacks if there's a big creep wave. So I guess it's more, do you want to be aggressive and gank with the Orchid, or do you want to sit back and farm neutrals a little more and have that ulti ready for team fights? One of the great things about the Ags, obviously, is it gives you great stats. So it makes the Queen of Pain a lot tankier, whereas the Orchid, a little more glass cannon.
The two work well together. I think that first item Ags is kind of weak because you don't have the mana pool to keep using the ultimate without going back to base. Like, unless you're getting, like, constant runes for
which
the
he
mana
has
regen.
been getting this game, to be fair. I think he's gotten at least one of the runes on every spawn so far, actually. So we'll see. Time will tell. S4 pulling up that gold up to about 1,400, so he can make that decision pretty soon here. Lil finding his level 6, so now the familiars are on the field, and they can start scouting around. Uh-oh, mid lane, S4 gets hexed up. They turn it around. He goes in onto G, but the Lion was there. And it's a freebie here for the Shadow Fiend. First kill for Asus.
It's level 6, so has the Finger of Death, so he'll be looking for pickoffs to come from this. Troll, not going to be an easy kill. He's got the Aegis now to go with his Phase, Yasha, Molded Mask, and could be the hero that they send mid lane to defend. But this tier 1 tower dropping fast.
Yeah, RTZ has definitely gotten a lot of space this game. There is a glyph for the Dire side. They'll use it just in the nick of time. RTZ goes charging in, stunned up, fingered right away. And that'll be the end of the Aegis.
He's died twice. He's surrounded.
Coming back to life. His teammates are on the way, but they're not going to get there fast enough. Can he even get off Whirling Axes here? No. From full to 0 in the duration of that stun lock. A little too aggressive there from old Artur. It will hand over the tier 1 tower. Dro Ranger getting the last hit. Is Secret actually going to fight this FNG? Jukes the LSA and the Dragon Slave. Puppey graves himself as he runs in. And S4 cleans up the Lion. So they end up getting a counter kill out of it. A little sloppy there from Team Secret.
Yeah. RTZ channeling his inner Havost a bit, perhaps.
Yeah, that was very bold, just charging in there like that.
So Zai's got a good chunk of money, 2.3k gold. Could pick up the Midas if he wants to go that build. Still good, even 12 minutes in the game. The other item which I think he likes to play around with a lot is the Blink Dagger. Just to kind of bait around and just be such a pest in general.
Blink Dagger, Necro, Orchid, all those are possibilities here. Or Dagon, if he really feels like he's balling out of control and can keep finding pickoffs against a hero like Dro Ranger. Everyone pretty much except Centaur would be very susceptible to like a Dagon 5 E-Blade build. Remember that from DAC. I'll never forget that game against the Envy Sniper when Zai just ran around like a madman, zapping people down. And it was a game kind of similar to this where he got a lot of space in lane and was able to get that Dagon out at a very early time. 2,600 gold, so we should see his investment soon.
Yep. And he's going to find a Shadow Fiend in bottom lane. Fairly tanky Shadow Fiend now with the completed mech. He, I think, recognizing he needs to tank up as much as possible. That is a massive Spiderling army that Zai has down here, but not something he wants to be sending into the Shadow Fiend.
No, I think he'll just take it into the neutrals where he can farm safe and sound, clearing out these ghosts here. Still a pretty quiet game. Both teams happy to continue farming away. It looks like Asus Polar are looking for opportunities to gank. They are smoked up. Uh-oh, Arteezy, he'll reveal it. Ward on the high ground. Arteezy just in the right place at the right time there. And that'll be the end of their little smoke expedition. But they do get a ward on the high ground. Nothing crazy.
So same kind of story as the last 2 games, where Secret get more out of the map in the early game, the laning stage goes better for them, and Polar are waiting for that Blink Dagger initiation. The Centaur, though, still 40 minutes in, so there's a decent ways to go, which is a bit of a worry, considering how much Secret are getting elsewhere on the map. Even your support, Lina, has a Yule Scepter here. It's not just the cause of Secret farming, it's even Kuro.
Dust used onto Zai, but he's speedy. He's going to scoot out. FNG almost dies to spiders.
Yeah.
Now Arteezy comes in while they're distracted with the bugs. Secret see this as an opportunity to fight. Requiem doesn't do too much here. They'll still do a lot of damage to Zai. Shallow
Puppey.
Grave. Puppey uses it on himself, and it ends up being the right play. It looked like a misclick, but it certainly worked out. Puppey will still end up falling, but makes the space for Zai to scoot out and make it back to safety. Wow, that could have been a lot worse for Secret.
Yeah, Zai kind of ran in a bit too aggressively there and was dusted up still, so not.
How did Visage not get anything from that kill on Dazzle? The team fight recap just bugged out? It must be.
Yeah,
He wasn't denied.
so.
That's very weird. Maybe if the Familiar gets the last hit, it messes up the team fight recap.
I don't know.
That's strange. I've never seen that happen before. I feel like that's just impossible. There's no way you can get a kill and not get a net worth gain if you didn't buy back or die.
The team fight recap, I don't know if it's been bug fixed yet, is generally, like, if you spend all your gold before you die, it still says you lose how much gold you would have lost.
Really?
Yeah, it's completely...
All right, I gotta stop putting so much
the
stock into that team fight recap.
Is not 100% accurate.
It's got some issues. I know it
doesn't.
doesn't. Does it take into account tower kills? I think it does not. Pretty sure it's supposed to just be heroes, so it doesn't even count for everything. Oh, Kuro. He's got a Yules. He'll be on the run. Stops the initiator. He does have a TP, but the Visage Familiar's flying overhead. He knows he's certainly doomed here. He'll get stunned up. Nowhere to go. Shadow Fiend will get the kill this time.
Yeah, almost caught the Brood as well there. They got him with the Dust, the Hex, but couldn't hit the Impale. But it's Polar who are just finding the pickoffs now. They just seem to be a really strong mid-game team. They are getting out-farmed, but they can make up for that. They can take some objectives, maybe get the next Roshan for themselves, especially with the kills they're finding. It does seem to suggest a swing of momentum towards the Russian
5,000 net worth, 3,000 experience lead for Secret, so they are pretty comfortable right now. All of their cores are doing very nicely, whereas Asus Polar have this straggler, and that's Big Brad here. Maybe Little Brad is what we should call him in this game. Finally gets his blink, but 16 minutes in, this is way past the window when Centaur would want to have this item. Puppey kind of bumps into him here. They cross paths, and Sadoy will blink away. And that's your reveal of the Blink Dagger right there.
Yep.
Not very exciting.
Not going to be a surprise anymore. And it is 16 minutes in, but now the T1 tower brings pressure to Sadoy. Stampede forward. You get Orchided. S4 ready for him.
And Sonic Wave connects on 3. Secret just disengaged. The mech comes out from Shadow Fiend. A couple of ults used. No blood is shed, really. But I feel like any time that Secret can stop this Centaur from initiating and take a fight like that, that's a minor victory.
Oh, Illidan at bottom. He's going to be so careful. Dagon 2 has just picked up. He's coming over the trees.
Wah, wah, wah.
Another web, maybe going to be enough.
He should have the bugs. He's silenced.
I think he's got a bat. Yeah, he does.
Illidan lives. Okay, meanwhile, back in the top lane, initiation breaks out. S4 heads up as Sadoy goes in, but looks like he was silenced from the Orchid. Now it's FNG on the run. Puppey wants to dive this, but no poison touch. Can't slow him down. S4, however, on the hunt. FNG trying to juke around, but he's got no armor. The weave makes it an easy kill as they right-click him to death. And the Demon Witch will be put into the grave to talk to his demon friends. Now the Tier 1 tower up top will fall, and it is the Queen of Pain that gets the bonus goal. Now G down bottom squares up against Zai. He'll channel the Requiem, and the Death Requiem looks like a double Requiem enough to blow up Zai. Zai gets the kill first, so that's pretty good, but Shadow Fiend does end a streak, so I don't really know who gets the edge there, honestly.
It's better for the Brood gets XP. He's like level 13 now. Okay. SF, he gets a bit of gold but doesn't get the XP for it, so I think it's still it's worthwhile for Zai to make that exchange.
Okay, there you go.
I mean, that's your top net worth hero that he just killed.
And that's his level 3 Dagon now off that, so I think, yeah, you're right. Zai will be fairly happy. Whew. So Dagon Brood Mother. A bit risky, but worth it if you can keep finding kills. The risk comes in if Asus Polar can find a way to box up, not give him openings to use the Dagon, then it does become a pretty big sunk cost.
And they're making the openings just by Secret the way they're looking to play. They have 4 heroes pressuring the top Tier 1 tower. and then Brood pressuring the bottom lane. So someone has to, they either have to give up towers or they give up kills, because if they want to defend both towers, they have to split up their heroes, and as soon as they split up, Brood finds those pickoffs, finds those kills. If they only defend one lane, then Brood is pressuring the base, and, well, that's not going to work.
Yeah. It looks like S4 with a BKB coming out on the horizon. Ogre Club picked up there. Now level 3 Dagon on Zai. No much item progression past that. We'll see in the dire jungle. Curl get jumped on. And yeah, defensive fuel's not going to be enough to stay alive. Does he have any other item progression? No, not unless he has something on the courier.
Just a Soul Ring.
Okay. And BKB on Arteezy. That's probably your biggest item worth reporting here. Troll finally able to come to these fights and not just get rolled over straight away as we saw when he had that Aegis.
Now, Polo with a lot of heroes top lane. This is kind of a problem, though, because it does open up Roshan for the taking for Team Secret. But for now, they're going to go for the Tier 1 tower. I think they may just make a beeline for Roshan after this. Could lead to both Tier 1 and Tier 2 top going down, but I feel like for Aegis for Roshan, that's an acceptable trade to get a Tier 1 as well on your side.
Yeah, tier 1 for Tier 1 tower. All right, Troll Warlord gets the last hit on the one in the mid, and the top goes to the Radiant. Now the TP's back. It will be Puppey to come back first, just to throw out the weave, maybe trying to posture and make Asus Polar think twice about going too deep. Artor as well as S4. Mid lane, they'll at least try to trade Tier 2 for Tier 2. We see more pings coming out, both teams using their glyphs. And it looks like it will just be an even trade. Zai has already cleared out that Tier 2 down bottom, so nothing to kill there.
Or even go scouting out the high ground to see if anyone had TP'd back early.
Back-to-back tower kills here for Arteezy.
Okay.
Just picks up that BKB and now nearly at 2,000 gold already.
It was 2 towers going the Radiant's way, Illidan getting one of them, and it looks like the other just being taken out by the creeps.
Radiant, no vision of both.
So they can get the 2 towers for 2, I mean, even tower trade, and then they get a Roche on top. Without any outer towers to TP to, it's really hard for Polar to move out and contest this. Not to mention the lack of vision around that area. Just the one ward at mid lane, which expires.
You can tell Secret care a lot more about their towers that give them access point to rush. Top Tier 1 and Tier 2, take them. Our jungle, we'll be able to farm it anyway, but these are the big value towers. Tier 1 down bottom, Tier 2 mid, so that they can contest a Roche if Asus Polar get up to some trickery. It will be the Queen of Pain that takes the Aegis, though, not the Troll.
Okay, S4 probably looking to maybe be a bit more aggressive as far as the fights they're taking. Scout the high ground with the weave, and they may be forced back. The other thing is taking the towers they did at mid lane and previously at bottom lane opens up this entire Radiant jungle to be farmed out by your Brood, by your Troll or Queen of Pain. And it makes it a lot more difficult for Asus Polar. Like, it's going to be kind of that you trade jungles, which this is something we see often around the 20 to, I mean, even in going to the late game, but like 20 minutes and beyond, teams seem to trade their jungles there.
Initiation. Oh, it's mistimed on Lil. He will live through the Yules, but so does Kuroki. Puppey there with the shallow grave. Nicely handled. Lil goes one way. Sadoi goes the other. S4 wants the kill. Soul Burn would have been enough, but finds it with auto attacks. Lil nowhere to go. He'll get brought down in the trees. 2 for 1 across the map. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, Zai did get jumped on. Looks like a 3-on-1. They were able to bring him down. Still a victory for Secret, and that's part of that Brood space creation. You kill the Brood, and, well, your other teammates may be left vulnerable.
It was a gem pickup for your Lion, which I think was just revealed by that gank. And FNG, his Force or Blink gets slowed down drastically by this, though. So it's a kind of crucial pickup in some ways, but the Blink in itself is often needed to find that, be that gap closer, because I'm not sure how they got the initiation there in the Brood. I think it was probably just a surprise factor, as he was very deep down this bottom lane. In future, you're going to need a Blink.
Zai was able to buy his level 4 Dagon before he went down, though, so his losses were mitigated. The big problem for Asus Polar right now is definitely this Centaur. You look at this net worth breakdown, and right now Kuro on the support Lina is out-farming the Centaur, who was their core offlaner. S4 down bottom will get killed. That's the Aegis of the Immortal down. Nice little pick for Asus Polar there. Okay. But this Centaur just has so little here, Gods. He's got Blink, Tranquils. Now he picks up a Vitality booster. I mean, that's something, but he just brings so little to the table. It feels like 1, 2, and 1 for Sadoi so far. Centaur's normally your hero. He does AoE damage. You want him to be your frontliner, blinking in, finding kills left and right, and he just hasn't been able to do that.
Yeah, and Secret, no, this Orchid on the Queen of Pain is the answer, because S4, if he's there when the initiation comes, he's reacting every single time and preventing the Hoofstomp. Even if he preemptively stampedes, he maybe gets the slow off, and he doesn't die when he goes in, but he never gets that clean Blink Hoofstomp.
Now Asus Polar grouped up. They're taking the high ground here. Secret are grouped up nearby. Some reinforcements on the way. Ooh, they go on the illusion. Now they stampede away. They see that and go, oh, they saw he used the gust, a couple of cooldowns there. Let's just get the hell out. So they'll stampede away. Secret still looking to pursue a little bit, maybe thinking about interrupting some TPs so Zai can do some rat work, pressuring close to the base. G will be the one that comes home to try and clean up some spiders, but not going to be so lucky.
I think you put like a Blink Dagger on Kuro, then you've got some real pick-off potential as well for moments like that where they're trying to just disperse and get the hell out. And Kuro's Blink Dagger not far away now if that's what he's going for. Could be going just for the Ag Scepter, which is also a good option against heroes that are likely to build the BKB.
Yeah.
It looks like he will pick up the point booster.
Yeah. Oh, no, he just bought something.
Yeah, point booster.
Oh, the point booster. Okay, yeah. I was just about to say, I reckon you probably would have bought that point booster by now, and there it is. And there's your Vanguard on the Centaur. So Sidoi just going back for anything to give him a little bit of an edge and try to survive in these fights a bit longer.
I think he really needs the BKB just because he blinks in. If he gets orchided or hit by a Lena stun or just, I don't know. I mean, the main thing is the orchid, but it seems worthwhile to have a BKB to guarantee that every single time you go in for a blink stun, you're getting it off. There is going to be BKBs though for Secret, so if Secret respond, they can pop their BKBs before that stun latches.
Scotty on the way for the Shadow Fiend. G with both ultimate orbs. He is closing in about halfway to that point booster, and he will have it. How's the Troll doing in comparison? Arteezy with a good bit of money in the bank. Sanjin Yasha still on that 10-second BKB, 3.3k gold. But here's an item you talked about. Blink Dagger on Zai. Even grabs it before the level 5 Dagon. Holds level 4 and decides he wants the mobility option first.
I think with the gem up, he just wants to be able to get the hell out. He'll see this smoke gank, and this is where that blink pays off. Oh, he doesn't blink in time.
Oh my. Well, would have paid off, but
yeah,
woulda, shoulda, coulda. Even still, though, a 5-hero smoke, or 4-hero smoke, rather, Dro's farming Ancient, for just a Brood.
It's kind of the intended result, I mean,
yeah,
from Polar, so.
It's not bad for Polar, but also not the worst thing ever for Secret. If there's one person to get picked off like that, they kind of expect Zai to be one that will fall at least a few times.
Doesn't lose money, he just picked up the blink, and he... Yeah, it's like he could have blinked out if it was maybe a little bit faster there, but you're not going to make that play every single time.
Yeah.
During DAC, he made that blink out a few times, and he'll make that play in the future, but hey, doesn't happen always.
All right, Quap finds a courier kill. Please tell me you have your courier hotkey bound.
Scotty,
that's the Scotty. We're on a new setup here. I think mine's actually not bound to the right key. I hate that the default is F2, because if you're a caster, it goes to the vision thing, first, so it overrides it. It shares the hotkey. It's very irritating. Gotta remember to change that after this game. But that's a pretty decent courier snipe. Always good to get that bonus goal, but stopping the Scotty, 3 minutes where G will be stuck without his item. And the 2 ultimate orbs, the least value pickups of the Scotty. That's one of those items that really gets a lot better once you complete it. The sum of its parts are not nearly valued. What's the saying? It's greater than the sum of its parts. Yes, there you go. Scotty sucks until you actually complete it. That's what I'm trying to say.
That is the peasant way of putting it, you know? I like it. I'll take the peasant way. Yeah, I don't think Polar were necessarily looking to fight anyway, so even if he had his Scotty right now, I don't think their playstyle changes because he hasn't got the Scotty.
True, very true.
They'll still look for pickoffs on the Brood if they can. They'll still look to stay relatively grouped up, and that's what they're kind of doing here, making their move towards bottom lane. Puppey trying to get some defensive wards to protect that Brood a little bit.
Ghost Scepter on Puppey
Zai
as well.
is very exposed here, and yeah, he blinks backwards, and he kind of knows.
Radiant's top
They've got the... Oh, that's a Radiant
attack.
ward. Yeah, he'll just back up.
Instantly taken out, though, by the gem.
Okay. Illidan, double damage rune on. Sanjin Yasha, the Dro has recovered pretty well. Still at the tail end of the pack, but was off to a very slow start. Curious where he'll go from here after the S and Y.
Just survive, I think, is always the plan for at this stage for Drow. So BKB Satanic, or maybe you go for a Scotty even. But BKB Satanic seems...
Well, he hasn't leveled up Frost Arrows yet, so I guess you could go Scotty and just keep putting points in stats. That's one way to do it.
Yeah. And that's where he wants to just stay alive. That's why he's gone for the max.
Oh my gosh, Artor with the first hit bash. Lil was just about to TP. That is one of many things that makes the Troll one of the most frustrating heroes to play against. Plays like that. It's a 1 in 10 chance to get the bash, but when you're that close to TPing out, it feels like it should be 1 in 100.
Yeah. And they're actually considering a high ground breach here. Just a Visage on the sidelines, so... Multiple buybacks, and still actually maybe it does matter that you haven't got your Scotty. I was saying it probably doesn't, but that's 45 seconds where G's going to wait for it. They'll clear out the creep wave, and...
Okay, they're just going to go for this. Glyph is available. They send Arteezy to the high ground. Some decent damage onto Illidan. Zai zaps him from the low. I think Secret just happy to force a reaction out of Asus Polar. Get them all turtled up in the base, clear out their jungle as they retreat. And Roche, well, we'll see what that timer is pretty soon here. Kobold Foreman.
I think it was a pretty fast one from the pop-up earlier.
Okay. You got the Foreman here with his clipboard just scouting it out, drinking on the job. Look at this crazy bastard. His chain goes into his body. That's how tricked out he is. He's got it implanted into his chest. I like that. Weird
I just love
bug.
that, like, this surely cannot be comfortable, like, having your hand out-held, hold, like, you don't stand, like...
Oh,
like,
he's got a whip in the other hand, too. I never noticed that. That's
like, that
cute.
is surely not comfort. Like, he's got some good biceps, you know?
Oh, yeah, that guy's he's been cracking that whip quite a bit. Roche, wow, it is a fast respawn, just about 10 or 15 seconds. I think that will favor Secret here as they're already making a movement towards the pit. And, oh, by the way, they'll just clear out a triple stack of Ancients on the way. So nice efficient use of their time. Asus Polar, though, they're not going to hand it over without a fight. They will group up as 4 and start moving towards that section of the map.
They get there fast here, and Illidan will be in charge of pushing out this bottom lane. He's picked up the ulti ult, so possible Skadi, Manta styles. You've already got the Yasha and the Sanjin Yasha. Well, they're not going to get to Roshan time, by the way.
This guy's just melting.
Yep.
Fervor, man. Makes it so easy. This is even without minus armor, too. Just imagine if the medallion was here from Zai. There you go. He finally uses it at the end.
Immediate smoke as well to follow this up. Radiant Vision did not scout the smoke out. And as soon as you find out you're too late to contest Roche, you just back the hell off anyways. You know Secret have grouped up his fight, have an Aegis, and you do not want to fight except on your high ground.
And there's still a 10-second BKB on this Troll ready to be debuted here. RTZ will press forward. He does have a Blink Dagger also. I know you've brought that up a couple of times throughout this series, how good the Blink Troll can be. And I think this is actually the first time we've seen it. Last 2 games, there was no Blink mobility tool.
Yeah, I
don't think on either game.
There may have been one last. There wasn't one in game 1.
Yeah. So, slight change of pace here for Team Secret. Also, BOT's now up on Zai, so he can start split pushing perhaps a little more effectively. Scotty comes out on the Shadow Fiend, then he moves into Lifesteal. Now Morbid Mask, maybe Satanic on the horizon for him.
So, Polar going to stay grouped here. Look, once again, make a move through their jungle. Try and catch out that Brood if possible. It's going to be Kuro. Got him. Ults up the Yules, but he's going to go down to the Skadi SF.
Yep, does what little damage he can before he falls.
It's better, slightly better than losing the Brood, so not the end of the world here for Team Secret, though. They can still maybe push as 5 with the Aegis if they want to, although it seems their playstyle is much more about getting these, kind of building towards the late game.
Yeah. I think so, too.
They've
There's your Satanic on the Troll. That's a big one.
They've got this 4-core lineup. Like, yeah, Brood is one of those, isn't really building as a carry, but at least is building items which can have a high... Having a Dagon 5 E-Blade in late game, you instantly bring down a Drow or someone to half HP. You force out a preemptive BKB. So they've got 4 big heroes which are all going to be very powerful in late game.
FNG almost gets solo down. There it is. Okay, they've got the combo. That's a Lion on the sideline.
Yep.
Easy 5v4 to get things started. Well, 4v4 now. Lena's still dead. They'll get this tier 2 tower. Zai just showing off his burst. That's a level 4 Dagon also, so it still gets a little bit bigger than that. And that's the real problem here. You talked about Lion as well as the Visage really having to spend so much money on wards that Lion just has nothing. No real stats, just a magic wand, and that's just going to happen over and over.
And even 31-man scene, you'd expect at least one of your supports, the 4 position, which in this case is low, to have an item. He hasn't got his Axe even.
Halfway to the Axe. It's not even close. Here we go. No glyph available. Secret go to siege the high ground. Aegis of the Immortal on Arteezy. Zai just trying to do what he can with that Dagon to make some space for his team. Arteezy still feeling pretty healthy here. Has the Satanic off cooldown. They will just kind of slow siege this tower from the low ground. Secret, they don't want to get hyper-aggressive here, hoping that Asus Polar may step out of the base and they can catch one. They'll have to wait for this next creep wave to cut through the backdoor protection. But what's the play here? Do you look to split push? Do you back out? They really want to make the most out of this Aegis, but I don't think they can just bum rush the high ground.
Yeah, they're going to kind of slow roll this, keep all the lanes pressured. Zai makes them move towards top lane, get some spy lanes up there, so at least we'll lure away one of the Polar heroes towards that top lane. And
2 minutes on the Aegis.
Let's set up a pick-off.
Oh, wow. They almost grab Illidan there. And Kuro, he gets that Aghanim. This is a support Lina, mind you, on the 4, so really great farm on him. Quite a few buybacks available here, but only on select heroes for the Radiant side. Illidan, the big one, who is lacking the buyback. He has the Lincoln Sphere. Dagon again popped on the Lincolns. This item's already paying for itself. Arteezy now gets initiated on. Shallow Grave comes out, though. S4 uses the BKB. They drop the hammer on the Centaur. The upgraded Laguna Blade enough to bring him down. They still have the Aegis. So they can just do this again. Centaur pings out the gem. Looks like they will recover it. Secret winning this war of attrition so far. Time on the Aegis. Now down to just about a minute, maybe a minute 10.
Pretty fast here. Laguna on cooldown for 40 seconds, so that makes it a bit trickier here, but Illidan, just be careful.
Centaur has a buyback. He may need to burn it here. Illidan gets brought down straight away. There's your buyback from the Centaur. Kuro getting low, but still alive. Arteezy, BKB on. Satanic cooling down. Remember, Aegis has yet to be deployed, although right now could be the time. Shallow Grave comes out, stunned up by the familiar.
Satanic again.
Satanic comes back off cooldown. He may finally go down this time, making so much space. Somehow still alive. Gets a bash on G. There's the Death Requiem to finish off the Aegis. But meanwhile, in the base, Zai is actually on the high ground, getting vision for his team and pressuring these supports. Now Sadoy, a dieback for him. Only one buyback available of the dead heroes, and it's the Shadow Fiend. Will he burn it? I think he has to. This could be a GG push all of a sudden, Gods.
Yep, you're getting mid lane, you're getting bottom lane, and top lane has no tier 2 tower. That's exposed as well. It's going to go for the tier 3 and that mega creep push.
There it is. GG is called. It's Team Secret that take game 2. Now just one victory away from securing their spot at the Summit 3.
You can see just how hard it is to push high ground there, though. Secret took them a few Aegises, and even with the Aegis, they had to kind of finesse that so much. They were just poking and prodding. They weren't even willing to just send the Troll and Aegis on the high ground just to brute force it. That really highlights how difficult pushing high ground can be. And Asus Polar, they executed, they did what they could, but it just, at some point, it just wasn't enough. Secret just a bit too polished and a bit too disciplined.
It really felt like that Satanic pick at the end was really, really useful for Arteezy. I mean, it came off cooldown twice, I think, in that final siege there.
Combos so well with the Grave, too.
Yeah.
Because you're guaranteed to kind of stay alive during the chain stun and then get some life.
It gives you a reset, and it's really quite incredible. Troll Warlord, 100% win rate in this best of 5 now. He's won all 3 games. So we'll see. Maybe the Troll gets banned out. Maybe he gets picked up again. But wow, what a hero! I wish I could just put Troll in my fantasy draft.
You know, that's part of one of the big reasons why Troll is so popular is because he's one of the few heroes that when you get ahead, you can actually break high ground and win the game off of. But even with the Troll, we're seeing how
still
difficult.
a struggle. Yeah,
there's like no better high. I mean, that's definitely some of the top tier. Like previously, like you go back to what we were seeing at TI4, like those high ground sieges, your Death Prophet, your Dragon Knights, your kind of Luna Chen type drafts. Those were strong in their own ways for breaching high ground, but as far as the currently strong heroes, the lane dominance, the mid games, Troll's like the only one that actually breaches high ground.
Yeah, he feels unmatched, and he's he's good at every stage of the game. Great in the lane. The blind offers a lot before BKBs come out, and late game, well, yeah, he's pretty good. He's not bad at least. So with that, folks, stick around because we've got at least one more game coming up. Game 4 around the corner of Secret versus Asus Polar.
I was actually one of